So friends, we are going to do the poem Pied Beauty by Gerard Manley Hopkins. Now this poem is a very short poem. It is called a curtal sonnet. Curtal, C-U-R-T-A-L, curtal sonnet, or a curtailed sonnet, a shortened sonnet of 10 and a half lines. It is a poem written in praise of God the Creator. In a previous video, I had discussed my understanding of inscape and instress. In this poem, the inscape that Hopkins is trying to show the reader, is the astounding variety and pattern of God's creation. Let me read the poem to you. Pied Beauty. Glory be to the God for dappled things, for skies of couple colour as a brinded cow, for rose moles all in a stipple upon trout that swim, fresh fire-cold chestnut falls, finches' wings, landscape plotted and pieced, fold, fallow and plough, and all trades their gear and tackle and trim. All things counter, original, spare, strange, whatever is fickle, freckled, who knows how. With swift, slow, sweet, sour, a dazzle dim, he fathers forth, whose beauty is past change. Praise him. Okay, so that is the poem Pied Beauty. And I read the poem aloud because recently I discovered that to enjoy the poems written by Hopkins, you have to really read them aloud, because he took so much of effort, so much pain to make the poems sound what they sound like when we read it. He was very, very careful about the words that he chose. He often combined words in a very strange manner. He even coined words to bring forth this idea in order to express the inscape of things. He played with words, he used metaphors, similes, with the rhyme and the rhythm. There is nothing he did not do to express the inscape of things as he saw them. So in this poem, as I said, the inscape he is trying to draw before us, to reveal to us, is the astounding variety of God's creation. And now let us look at how he traces this inscape in such a way that we too can see it very clearly in the poem. And so he begins the poem by saying, glory be to God for dappled things. So dappled things are multicolored things, spotted things. So he looks at the patterns, the different patterns in nature. For skies of couple color as a brinded cow. So he compares the colored sky, the evening sky or the early morning sky, which is strewn with hundreds of shades of colors, multi-hued. And so he's talking about the couple color, the skies of couple color as a brinded cow. A brinded cow is a cow that has this design of brown and white intermingled, spots of brown and white. And so the comparison of the sky to a brinded cow, and then he talks about rose moles all in a stipple upon trout that swim. So trout, is the name of a fish, and he talks about the black dots on the rose colored flesh of the skin of the fish. And again, I would like to repeat the point that I had made in the earlier video about how he saw the hand of the Creator, the hand of God in every single creature around him. So in the fish, in the design, the pattern or on the fish, he sees the touch of God. And the fresh fire-cold chestnut falls. You can see the repetition of the sound F there. Fresh fire-cold chestnut falls. So there he talks about the chestnut, the nuts that fall from the tree, and when they fall down, they lie there and the shell cracks open. So it is, when you picture it in your mind, when you read the poem, actually you should be able to see all these colors in your mind. So The fresh fire coal chestnut. So what he means is that when the chestnut breaks open, the nut is colored dark brown. The hard nut, the outward shell is colored dark brown, and when it breaks open inside, you see the bright yellowish flame like kernel or the nut that is inside. And so the fresh fire coal chestnut falls. So it also means, maybe he also says that the hard exteriors often cover something, often hide something that is so beautiful inside. And so again, fire coal, because the coal, it is covered with ashes. Only when you blow or when a breeze blows over it, the glittering fire is revealed. Same way here too. So what a beautiful comparison there. Fresh fire coal chestnut falls, and then finch's wings. So finch, I suggest that you take a look at the bird called, some of you know what a finch is. It's a bird, it's a small bird, a tiny beautiful bird that is often, people breed it at homes like lovebirds. So those who haven't seen the picture of a finch should definitely search and look at and then you will understand why he uses that particular bird, because the finch is a multicolored bird. So many different colors it has on its feathers, and so that is why he says the colors, the patterns on the finch's wings. And then, so all this while he had been speaking about the patterns and the colors that are strewed across nature. Now he talks about the landscape, that is the patterns and the various colors that you can see in the man-made patterns. But ultimately, of course, it is God who made man. So even the credit for what man makes should be accorded to the Almighty. So he talks about the landscape which is plotted and pieced. So just imagine having an aerial view at the land. There you can see fields, they are plotted, they are divided into pieces. And some of them are folds, they are sheep folds. So there you can expect green color with the white spots of the sheep, the scattered sheep. And then fallow is the land that is left uncultivated. So the brown, the dry brown fallow land. And then the plough, what he means that it's a cultivated land, the land that has been ploughed over, the rich, fertile, dark brown soil. So that is another shade of brown that you see there. So here again you see the patterns and colors. And all trades, their gear and tackle and trim. So trades here he means the farmers, the threshers, again the fishermen, and all the different kind of equipment. That is what he means by gear and tackle and trim. The nets that the fishermen use, the plows that the farmers use, the axes that the woodcutters use. So all that again is a varied pattern. And then he goes on to juxtapose various words as all things counter, original, spare, strange. So everything that you can think of, everything that is so apparently kind of different, whatever is fickle, freckled, who knows how. So he says nobody can explain why something is freckled, why something is fickle or short-lived, because it is a mystery that is beyond us. It is a mystery that only God can reveal. And then again you can see in the next line, with swift, slow, sweet, sour, a dazzle dim. You can see that it is a stretch of antonyms. Swift as opposed to slow, sweet as opposed to sour, a dazzle as opposed to dim. So he brings in opposites. There again you see a pattern of a design of the opposites and the extreme ends. He brings them together, and he says, he fathers forth whose beauty is past change. So all this is created by God. Fathering forth is the process of creating, of giving birth. So he fathers forth whose beauty is past change. So the beauty of God is past all change. That is, it is beyond, it is kind of eternal. God's beauty is something that is everlasting. Nothing would affect the beauty of God. So he fathers forth whose beauty is past change. So it is God who is past change. His beauty, his glory is past change. And so he ends with the very simple words, praise him. So what he has been doing in this poem is he has been praising God. Praise him for his variety. Praise him for his splendor. Praise him for the grandeur of his creation. So it is a song of sheer adoration to God the Creator. And as I said earlier, the inscape of this poem is the astounding variety of God's creation. And this is a poem in which Hopkins has succeeded immensely in making the reader to feel the inscape, see the inscape that he wanted to convey. So this is one beautiful poem of Gerard Manley Hopkins, and there are many others. I mean, he hasn't written much. In fact, I have mentioned earlier about how he stopped writing poetry when he joined as a novitiate to become a priest. How he burned all his earlier poems. So what a loss. So these are the poems that he wrote later, So it is really a beautiful experience to read Hopkins after you understand his fervor and his ardor and how sincerely he wanted to convey the pleasure that he felt when he looked at God's creations. So this is one poem you shouldn't miss, and it is a poem that you should take time to savor and relish, read it loud and enjoy it to the maximum, so that you can really take in the inscape that the author so painstakingly tries to convey to us.